My beloved child. Do not scroll. This message reached you at the exact moment your heart was beginning to feel the distance, and what you are about to hear may explain the silence you could not understand. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision. They are tired. They are emotionally exhausted, and unless something changes very soon, they are preparing to say goodbye. Not for a few days, not until the next argument passes, but forever. This does not mean they stopped loving you. That is what makes this so painful. They still care, they still think about you. They still replay the moments that once made them believe the two of you were meant to find each other. But love has become mixed with disappointment, confusion, and the fear that the connection may never become what both hearts once hoped it would be. Stay until the end, because there is one thing they are waiting to see before they finally close the door. And you may have no idea that your next action could decide everything. Before we continue, take one slow breath. Think of the person who entered your mind. The moment you saw this title, you did not have to search for them. Their face appeared immediately. Perhaps communication has become cold. Perhaps there has been no contact. Perhaps you still speak, but the warmth has disappeared. Perhaps their replies are shorter. Perhaps you can feel them withdrawing even when they insist that nothing is wrong. Something has shifted. And your heart has been noticing it. You may have tried to ignore the signs, because accepting them would mean admitting that the connection is reaching a serious moment. But silence does not always mean peace. Sometimes silence is where someone begins preparing to leave. Your soulmate has been carrying words they have not said. They have wanted to tell you that they feel unseen. They have wanted to say that waiting has become painful. They have wanted to ask whether you truly want them, or only want the comfort of knowing they are still available. But every time they consider speaking, fear stops them. They fear that you will misunderstand. They fear that you will become defensive. They fear that the conversation will become another argument where both people speak, but neither person feels heard. So they remain quiet. And inside that quiet, a goodbye is beginning to form. Do not ignore this part. They have not reached this point because of one mistake. They have reached it because of a pattern. A delayed message by itself would not destroy the connection. One misunderstanding would not make them walk away. One difficult week would not erase everything you shared. But repeated uncertainty has changed the way they feel. They have become tired of wondering where they stand, tired of interpreting mixed signals, tired of feeling close to you one day and like a stranger the next, tired of opening their heart only to watch fear enter the room again. They have asked themselves a painful question. How long can I love someone who will not meet me clearly? And they do not know how much longer they can continue. Your soulmate may have once been the one who chased. They may have sent the first message. They may have checked on you. They may have forgiven quickly. They may have created opportunities for the two of you to speak honestly. But lately, something inside them has changed. They are no longer certain that effort will make a difference. They have begun protecting the part of themselves that kept getting hurt. This protection may look like distance. It may look like indifference. It may look like silence. But underneath it, there is still emotion. People do not always become quiet because they no longer care. Sometimes they become quiet because caring has become too painful. Stay with me, because the next revelation is important. Your soulmate has imagined saying goodbye many times. They have imagined typing the message. They have imagined hearing your voice one final time. They have imagined explaining that they cannot keep living inside uncertainty. But each time they get close, a memory stops them. They remember the way you once looked at them. They remember the conversation that made them feel understood. They remember the moment they realized you were different. They remember the laughter, the late-night honesty, the comfort, the strange feeling that the two of you had known each other long before your lives crossed. Those memories keep reopening the door. But memories cannot carry a relationship forever. Eventually, the present must become strong enough to support what the past began. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that holding on to old moments may be preventing them from facing current reality. They still treasure what happened. But they are asking whether something beautiful in the past is enough reason to continue suffering in the present. Do not scroll, because this is where your connection may have gone wrong. Both of you may have been waiting for the other person to act first. You waited for them to become clearer. They waited for you to become more open. You wanted proof that it was safe to express your heart. They wanted proof that their feelings would not be rejected. You interpreted their silence as a lack of care. They interpreted your distance as a lack of interest. And slowly, two people who still felt connected began protecting themselves from each other. Fear created the distance that neither person actually wanted. Pride maintained it. Time strengthened it. Now the connection stands at a crossroads. Your soulmate is asking themselves whether they should reach out one more time, or finally release the hope. They are tired of living between those two choices. One part of them wants to fight for you. Another part wants peace. One part remembers everything beautiful. Another part remembers every night they felt forgotten. One part believes the connection still has a purpose. Another part fears that continuing will only create more pain. This emotional battle has drained them. They may not show it publicly. They may continue working, laughing, and speaking normally with others. But when they are alone, the questions return. Did I imagine the connection? Did they ever love me in the same way? Why did something so powerful become so difficult? Should I send one final message? Or should I disappear completely? These are the thoughts moving through their mind. Do not panic. This message is not telling you to chase someone who has clearly rejected you. It is not telling you to abandon your dignity. It is not telling you to accept disrespect because you are afraid of losing the connection. It is asking you to examine whether there is an honest conversation you have been avoiding. There is a difference between reaching out with clarity and begging for attention. There is a difference between expressing your heart and surrendering your self-respect. If you have been silent only because you are afraid, your soulmate may be interpreting that silence as your final answer. Sometimes people do not leave because love disappeared. They leave because they believe they are no longer wanted. Your soulmate has been looking for one sign of emotional truth. Not a vague reaction, not a mysterious post, not an indirect message through someone else. They want honesty. They want to know whether the connection mattered to you. They want to know whether you recognize the distance. They want to know whether you are willing to speak about what happened, without pretending nothing went wrong. This is the thing they are waiting to see, a mature, direct expression. It does not have to be dramatic, it does not have to promise forever, it simply has to be real. But before you contact anyone, listen carefully. You must first ask yourself what you truly want. Do you want this person, or do you only fear losing access to them? Do you want a relationship, Or do you want reassurance that they still care? Are you prepared to communicate consistently? Are you willing to hear how your actions affected them? Are you ready to take responsibility, without turning the conversation into a defense of yourself? These questions matter. A goodbye should not be interrupted by promises you cannot keep. If you bring someone back into your heart, you must be prepared to create something different from what pushed them away. Your soulmate does not need another emotional moment, followed by silence. They do not need another apology that disappears after a few days. They do not need another beautiful message with no change behind it. They need consistency. That is why they are close to leaving. Not because they demand perfection. Because they can no longer survive unpredictability. Stay until the end. Because your soulmate has already written part of the goodbye in their heart. It begins with gratitude. They are grateful they met you. They are grateful for what the connection awakened inside them. You showed them that they could feel deeply. You reminded them that emotional closeness was possible. You helped them understand parts of themselves they had avoided. Even the pain taught them something. It taught them where they abandoned their own needs. It taught them what they should no longer accept. It taught them that loving another person should not require losing themselves. They do not regret every moment. That is why saying goodbye feels impossible. They are not trying to erase you. They are trying to release the version of the future they imagined with you. There is a difference. They may always remember you. They may always wonder what could have happened under different circumstances. But they are reaching the point where wondering is no longer enough. They need a life that is present. They need love that communicates. They need someone who does not make them question whether they are welcome. If the connection with you cannot become that, they are preparing to stop waiting. Do not scroll, because a small event recently pushed them closer to this decision. Perhaps they saw something that made them believe you were moving on. Perhaps you failed to respond during a moment when they needed emotional reassurance. Perhaps they heard that you were speaking to someone new. Perhaps a meaningful date passed and you said nothing. Perhaps they noticed that they were always the one remembering, reaching, or trying. The event itself may have looked unimportant, but it confirmed a fear they had been carrying. The fear that they care more than you do. Whether that fear is true or not, it feels true to them, and people often make permanent decisions based on emotions that were never discussed. This is why communication matters. Silence creates stories. When there is no clear answer, the mind creates one. Your soulmate may have decided that your silence means you do not want them. You may believe your silence protects you from rejection. Both people may be suffering, because neither person is willing to risk honesty. But time is running out on this pattern. They are beginning to accept that closure may have to come without your explanation. They are teaching themselves to stop checking for your name. They are removing small reminders. They are avoiding songs and places connected to you. They are attempting to create new routines, where your absence does not feel so loud. This is not easy for them. There are moments when they feel strong. Then a memory appears and everything becomes heavy again. But each time they survive the memory without contacting you, they become more confident that they can let go. That is why this moment is urgent. Once someone learns to live without the hope, returning becomes much harder. Do not mistake their silence for an invitation to play games. If you care, be honest. If you do not want the relationship, let them go respectfully. Do not offer just enough attention to keep them emotionally available. Do not contact them only when loneliness appears. Do not reopen the door if you know you are unwilling to walk through it. That would not be love, it would be emotional control. Your soulmate deserves clarity, and so do you. The most loving action may be reconciliation, or it may be an honest goodbye, but the connection cannot remain suspended forever. Listen closely. They are not asking you to solve everything in one conversation. They are asking to see whether you are emotionally present. They want to know whether their feelings can exist in the room without being minimized. They want you to listen when they say they were hurt. They want to hear your truth too. Perhaps you were not silent because you did not care. Perhaps you were overwhelmed. Perhaps you believed you were protecting them. Perhaps you were facing responsibilities they did not understand. Perhaps past betrayal made you afraid of becoming vulnerable. Your reasons matter, but reasons do not erase impact. A mature conversation allows both truths to exist. You can say, "I was afraid," while still recognizing that your distance hurt them. You can explain your circumstances without denying their experience. You can apologize without calling yourself a terrible person. An apology is not self-destruction. It is the acknowledgement that someone mattered enough for you to examine how your choices affected them. Your soulmate is waiting to see whether you can do that. Do not scroll, because they have imagined the final conversation. In their imagination, they tell you that they still love you. They tell you that leaving is not what they wanted. They tell you they waited longer than anyone knows. They tell you that every time they almost moved forward, your memory pulled them back. Then they tell you that love is no longer enough. Those words frighten them. They once believed love could overcome everything. Now they understand that love without communication becomes loneliness. Love without trust becomes anxiety. Love without action becomes a story people tell themselves to survive the absence. They do not want to continue loving only in imagination. They want something they can live. If that cannot happen with you, they are preparing to make room for a connection that can meet them in reality. This does not mean someone else has already replaced you. It means they are giving themselves permission to become available to the future. Until now, part of their heart remained reserved for you. Even when others approached, they could not fully open. They compared every connection with what they felt with you. They kept believing you might return, but now they are asking whether loyalty to an unfinished connection has become disloyalty to themselves. That question is changing them. They are no longer romanticizing endless waiting. They are beginning to see that choosing themselves may require closing the door they hoped you would walk through. Stay here, because the final goodbye has not happened yet. There is still a small opening, not because your soulmate is weak, because they want to know they did everything they could before walking away. They do not want to spend years wondering whether one honest conversation could have changed the outcome. They are searching for courage to speak. You may also need courage, but courage does not guarantee the answer you want. They may tell you that too much damage has occurred. They may need time. They may not trust your words immediately. They may have already made a decision. Honesty is still valuable, even when it does not produce reconciliation. It frees both people from guessing. It turns hidden emotion into reality. It allows the future to be built on truth rather than imagination. If you decide to reach out, do it without pressure. Do not say, "You must answer me." Do not use fear, guilt, spiritual claims, or dramatic promises to force contact. A simple message is enough. I have been thinking about the distance between us. I recognize that my silence may have hurt you. I care about what happened, and if you are open to it, I would like to have an honest conversation. I will respect whatever you decide. That kind of message creates space. It does not demand access. It shows emotional responsibility, then allow them to choose. Do not send 10 more messages if they do not respond immediately. Do not become angry because they need time. They may have waited a long time for you to speak. Now you may need to wait for them to feel safe enough to answer. Stay until the end, because their deepest fear is not that you never loved them. Their deepest fear is that you loved them, but were still unwilling to choose the connection. That fear hurts differently. It makes them question whether love has any value without courage. They know feelings can be real and still fail to create a future. They do not want to become someone you remember warmly, but never fought to understand. They want to be chosen in reality, and if you cannot choose them, they want the truth so they can stop waiting. This is the crossroads. One path leads toward an honest conversation, the other leads toward final silence. The choice does not belong only to you. Both people must participate, but your action can reveal whether the connection still has something real to work with. Do not delay simply because you are waiting for the perfect words. Perfect words do not exist. Speak sincerely. Speak respectfully. Speak without manipulation. And accept that the other person has the right to choose. Urgency does not mean panic. Urgency means recognizing that time changes hearts. Someone who waits forever may eventually stop. Someone who forgives repeatedly may eventually build a boundary. Someone who loves deeply may eventually understand that love should not require endless uncertainty. Your soulmate is approaching that understanding now. They are beginning to imagine a life where your name does not control their emotional state. They are imagining mornings when they no longer check for your message. They are imagining meeting someone who speaks clearly. They are imagining receiving the consistency they once hoped to receive from you. This future frightens them because it requires releasing you. But it also gives them peace. The peace is becoming stronger. That is why the goodbye feels closer. The emotional storm inside them is beginning to settle. They no longer cry every time they remember. They no longer feel the same urge to explain themselves. They are learning to accept that some questions may remain unanswered. Once acceptance becomes complete, the door may close without anger. And a door closed peacefully can be more final than one slammed during an argument. Anger often means emotion is still active. Peace may mean someone has truly released. Do not scroll, because your soulmate is approaching that peace. They are not trying to punish you. They are not creating distance to make you chase. They are genuinely learning how to live without the connection. If you care, do not respond with games. Do not post something designed to provoke jealousy. Do not ask another person to contact them. Do not disappear longer to test whether they return. Tests destroy trust. Healthy love asks direct questions. Healthy love does not require someone to prove devotion through suffering. If you want the connection, say so. If you need time, explain what that means. If you do not want it, be kind enough to end the uncertainty. Your soulmate may be hurt by the truth, but they will heal faster from truth than from mixed signals. This message is urgent, because both hearts deserve release from the pattern. Reconciliation can be a form of release. So can closure. The goal is not to force the relationship to continue. The goal is to stop living inside emotional confusion. Do not make them regret becoming vulnerable. Do not use their return as an opportunity to gain emotional control. Speak as two people trying to discover whether something healthy can still be created. This is your chance to replace guessing with truth. The relationship may survive. It may transform. Or it may end. But whatever happens, honesty will free you from the endless question of what might have happened if both people had spoken. Stay with me for the final message. Your soulmate is about to say goodbye forever. But forever may not mean they will stop loving you instantly. It means they are preparing to stop building their life around the possibility of your return. They may carry a small part of the connection with them. They may always remember, but they will no longer wait at the same door. That is the goodbye approaching. The goodbye to waiting. The goodbye to interpreting silence. The goodbye to accepting half-presence. The goodbye to believing potential is the same as commitment. If you want a place in their future, you must meet them in reality. Not only in thoughts, not only through hidden feelings, not only through spiritual signs, real love eventually becomes visible. It speaks, it listens, it apologizes, it changes, it respects freedom, and it chooses consistently. Do not respond to this message with fear, respond with clarity. If a respectful conversation is appropriate, have it. If the person has asked for no contact, respect that boundary. If the relationship involved abuse, threats, stalking, or serious manipulation, do not use this message as a reason to reconnect. Protect yourself and seek qualified support. Urgency must never override safety or consent. But if two people simply became trapped behind fear, pride, and silence, one honest message could bring the truth both hearts need. Whether that truth creates a beginning or an ending, it is better than emotional imprisonment. Your soulmate does not need you to become perfect tonight. They need to know whether you are willing to become honest. They need to see whether your actions can become different. They need to know whether love will remain only a feeling or finally become a choice. The next step is yours, not the entire outcome. Only the next honest step. Do not promise forever. Speak about today. Do not demand forgiveness. Offer responsibility. Do not ask them to trust immediately. Show them consistency. Do not chase if they say no. Respect their answer. That is love too. If this message spoke to your heart, comment below. I choose honest love. Let those words become your promise, a promise that you will no longer hide behind silence. A promise that you will not keep another person waiting when you already know your truth. A promise that you will communicate with dignity. A promise that you will respect boundaries. A promise that you will accept that love must be free to choose. Like this video if it brought clarity to a connection that has been living inside uncertainty. Suitable for messages about love, healing, emotional courage, and self-respect, share this with someone who may be allowing fear to speak louder than their heart. And when the video ends, do not begin panicking about losing someone. Become still. Examine the relationship honestly. Ask whether there is something real you need to say. Then speak only from truth. Your soulmate may be close to saying goodbye, but the deeper message is not. Stop them at any cost. The deeper message is, do not let fear make the final decision for both of you. If the connection deserves another chance, let honesty open the door. If the chapter has ended, let honesty close it gently. But do not remain trapped between love and silence. Life is moving, hearts are changing, and the person you care about is learning to choose peace. Meet them with courage, or release them with respect, because love that is real does not imprison, it clarifies, it strengthens. It becomes visible, and when it cannot remain, it still knows how to say goodbye with dignity.